Hello, it's Shantae again from Stitching Hearts Embroidery. Today I want to share with you how to make a patch using Essentials and Enthusiast. So I did go ahead and put the other modules back on my computer because it was driving me crazy not having some features when I was working on something. But I did kind of work through it in my mind so that I'm just sticking to Essentials and Enthusiasts. And I keep looking down because I'm noticing that in some other videos, I'm calling Essentials Embrilliance, like Embrilliance, Essentials, and Enthusiasts. They're all these E's. So Essentials, we're going to use BX fonts and maybe some sizing stuff. And then Enthusiasts, we're going to use the shape to make our patch. We're going to use a knockdown stitch for the back of some of the patches. And I've gone ahead and hopped over to Creative Fabrica and found some designs. And so my goal again is to just really get you to jump in. If you've used your hard-earned money on Essentials and Enthusiasts, then use it, open it up, make yourself some patches, some bag tags, some applique designs. All of those things are made just the same. And so the difference in today is that I am going to stitch them out at the end of this. So the first part, hopefully I'm going to make, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe eight patches in about 10 minutes. And then I'm going to try to stitch them out. So I'll add that on to this video before I share it. So let's get started. So first of all, I always talk about wanting to have your hoop on the screen. And the goal of that is that it just reminds you what size you're working with. So one thing, I'm looking at my hoop and it is going up and down, right? And if I go over here at the bottom to where it says hoop and double click it, it changes the orientation of the hoop. So that's number one. Then I'm going to go up here to the yellow folder. It's called the Preferences folder. Click on that and all of the hoops show up here. We are going to work in what do we know? We know a 4x4 hoop is about 100 by 100 millimeters. And I'm just picking one for this one. So here's my hoop. There is my hoop. This is telling me it's 3 5/16 by 3 5/16. This little slider will zoom in and out. So it's not changing the size of the hoop. It is only zooming the screen in and out. And believe it or not, there was a time when I was so confused about that. I would make that bigger and think I was making my design bigger. And so I wanted to share that. So here we go. There is my 4x4 hoop and the hoop is showing. If I were to pick my hoop and there was no hoop showing on the screen, I would go over here to view because view shows the different things that you're going to view on your home screen, on your screen. And right here, it says draw hoop. So if I click that away, it's gone. And if I go back and click draw hoop, it's there. So my hoop is there. And the first patch that we want to do, let's go up here to merge design. We're going to click on that. And right here in applique shapes. Now, the reason that one of the limitations that you will have in Enthusiast, not having stitch artists, is you don't have the ability to make your own stitches, right? To generate stitches. And so, but they've done this for you. And so this is just, there are enough things here that you really could play and learn so much about like patch making and applique making with just the ones that are within the system here. You can also buy shapes that are already applique shapes. You could go on Etsy and buy an applique shape in whatever shape that you want and then add your design or your wording on the inside. So you are definitely able to make a patch with a 4x4 hoop and only having Essentials and Enthusiasts. So our first patch, we are going to start with a circle. So there you go. There is the circle. It is in this 4x4 hoop. I am going to move it down a little bit. I'm using a mouse. It's a, I don't even know, so I won't even go there. It's a gaming mouse, something pretty basic, but it moves easy for me, and I use the scroll. I'm using the scroll, this wheel in the middle, to zoom in and out of my design again. And again, as you can see at the bottom, it's not changing the size of the design. It's only just zooming in so that I can see it better, so that we can see what we're working with. And this slider does the same thing. So here is our frame, or our applique, position, material, and it says applique, right? So if we go to color on any of these, I just want to make sure that I give you as many pieces of this as I can. So if you go right into the color box, there it says applique. There are some options, and I don't think we're going to use any of these. We're just going to leave it as it is. We want the 3 parts. But if you did not want a part on that, you could get rid of that. Like if you don't need the position or whatever. And so that's where you'll find that. So here we are. I am going to bring in a second one, or I could copy and paste. So I'm going to say, okay. So there we are. So this one, I'm going to change the color of the applique, because I want, that's the outer part. So that's the color you'll see. We're going to make it just a dark color, because I want this patch to have the stitching behind the words, right? And because you can't generate stitches, this is just a little workaround to help you so that you can put the stitches on the back. So I made this circle smaller than the outer circle. There's no specific numbers you have to have. It's just, let me move it and let you see. So it's just covering all the lines, right? And you'll see why, because now I have the orange one, the dark one highlighted. I'm going to go up here to utility, and I'm going to choose add a knockdown stitch. Well, when you add a knockdown stitch, it adds inflation. It's going to be bigger than your design, right? And so if I did not use this orange one and I only used the applique circle, and I wanted that stitching on the back for the patch, the knockdown stitch is going to come out 1 millimeter from around the patch. And I don't like messy patches. So I came up with, or I don't even know where or why or where I saw this, just making a second circle, making it a little bit smaller, adding, do we want bidirectional? So if bidirectional means there'll be one circle that way, or the lines will go one way and another way. I don't think so. We want just a light feel, because we're going to use felt on the patch. You know, the back of the patch will be felt, but it's going to have a light feel on it. Feel stitch, I'm saying feel. I'm going to say okay, and there it is. So if I move this one, this orange one, that is just enough to cover in the hole, and it's not sticking out at the edges. Let's move this around a little bit, and you can see it's just enough. Now, if I were to stitch that and I'd find that the push-pull compensation is kind of off, and I needed to adjust that to make it a little bit smaller or whatever, I could do that. But for right now, we're learning the basics. So this orange circle, I'm going to delete. I highlighted it, I pushed delete. And there you have it. There is an underlay, and then there's the whole applique, the position, the material, and then the satin stitch going around it. You have that. One other thing I was going to say is sometimes you see there is a top stitch on a patch, right? You can still do that too, because guess what? You can stitch all of this out. You can stitch your underlay and then these 3, and then you can back your machine up and then stitch this material or position stitch again in a different color or the same color, and it's going to give you a little stitch around there. And so I am just sharing that there are some tips or tricks, things that you can do to get familiar with the software to help you determine if you want to go in further, if you want to jump in with 2 feet. And so there you have it. There's the back of the pad. There is the patch. Next, we are going to add some lettering. So we're going to go right up here. And the words that I'm going to choose, I'm just going to say something real simple. I use my keyboard, did 2 capital letters, B and E, and I'm going to push enter. So that one will go there. One thing I want to do is I want to go over here to my underlay and I want to lock it so that it's not moving around because I'm moving these letters. And then the next word, I push this A up here and it gave me the ABC. I go over here to my text box and I'm going to use the word kind in all capital letters, right? I chose a font. I'm going to use a font called Waterpark from Stitchtopia. And I don't know, just because it fits. Here it is. So that's the one word. And that's the other word. So there we go. And so see, I'm not accidentally moving my my knockdown stitch or my underlay. So I'm going to take these words. This word kind, I want it to be warped just a little bit. So I'm going to go down here. It says bottom. I'm going to say peak. So there are the options: curve, grow, peak, shrink. Got to play with them and figure it out. I still don't know. Like, I just play around with them and to figure out which way I'm going. So I'm going the bottom. I'm going this way. So I want the word to kind of curve up a little. I'm going to pull the letter spacing in. So this space bar, I'm going to go in just a little like that. And then I'm going to make the word larger and scoot it over. So there we have it. There's the word kind. And then we have B. So it says top. I'm going to peak. Wait, I thought I did peak for this one. Oh, I did. And so the top, I'm going to do peak. And I'm going to go like that and just curve it just a little. Stretch it out just a little. Make it a little bit shorter. And there you have it. I'm going to bring this E over just a little. Like that. And so there are limitations. That is the reasoning or the selling point for buying other modules. But there are so many things that you can do within the Essentials and Enthusiast modules. And so here we have it. There you go. There is the patch. It is done. And so let's see. Here is the, wait, I'm having donuts. Oh. So I'm going to move this here. So it gave me, look how perfect that second stitch is on there. So look at that. So it gave me the knockdown, the second stitch, and that's it. There's your one patch. I wonder how long did that take? 15 minutes. I'm already past my time. I said 10 minutes. So this is a design that I found on Creative Fabrica, and it is you are kind, strong, important, beautiful. And so the same thing, I went to Creative Fabrica, found the design, downloaded it onto my computer, opened it up in the software, and I went to the same applique shapes and put a circle around it. And so that is my patch right there. I can probably, it looks like it's a little off-centered. So what I did was I went back. So I was in Create. I shouldn't be in Create because we're doing Enthusiast. But I don't know where. Oh, I was in Stitch Simulator maybe. I don't know. So I'm going to center that, and then I'm going to try to center that. So there you go. And that's it. That is patch number 2. Number 3, the same thing. So this one is off of Creative Fabrica, and you can use either a design that you have already. Somebody can make you a design, or you can go on Etsy and buy a design, or Creative Fabrica and find a design. One thing about some of these on Creative Fabrica, I found about 3, and they have so many jump stitches and some different stuff going on. So you just have to, be careful. But you're just downloading them. If you don't like them, if it's not going to work for you, you can just toss it. But another feature in Enthusiast is stitch editing, which is right here. It says use this tool to edit stitches. So I'm going to click on that tool, and I'm going to take the little lasso, and I can see that this stitch, there is the stitch point right there. So watch what I do. I clicked on it and I push delete, and it's gone. So, but some of these I can tell that the end of the stitch is behind the letter. And so though I have definitely done some, probably a lot more stitch editing than I'd like to admit, like way back when I was selling on Etsy and I had a design and I needed something fixed and I couldn't get anybody to really help me to do it, do whatever it was that I needed to do. I learned how to do some stitch editing. I would probably move this whole letter or use the simulator and get to the point of the end of that stitch and like figure it out. So then for this one, I think we could probably use a square, maybe. And so there you have it. And there you have it. That is your patch. And you can do the same thing with the knockdown stitch. You could copy and paste. So I have 2. I'm going to take one and make it, let me hold down Shift so that it'll take it in from the middle. I'm going to change the color of it to just a darker color again. And the whole thing is not really small enough. Big enough. So I'm just going to make that smaller. I'm going to click on the orange one, go up here to Utility, add a knockdown stitch. Only need one direction with the 1 millimeter inflation. There it is. Get rid of this orange one. I'm going to say delete. And then you have a patch with stitching on the back. You can use stitching on the back of patches, or you can just have it felt and no stitches, right? Let's get to the next one. Same thing. Mama, we can put a circle around. We can put an oval around it. So let's go right up here, grab the oval. I can say patch is done. Next. Faith over fear. We can put the square. Same thing. That has some those lines jumping all over the place. If you don't mind them, that's fine. If so, you could probably try to do the stitch editing and get rid of them, or buy a design from, so that's still a 4x4. So this whole thing might be a little bit too big if you have a 4x4 hoop. So I would just click on both. I'm holding down Shift and clicking both and making it just so it's right under 4. Like that. And that one's done. Next, same thing. I would probably use an oval for this. But the one last part I want to show you before I go over to the machine and start stitching these out is stitch editing. This is something that I used way, way early on too. I mean, like 4 or 5 years ago, I would take a design that had something that I needed, like this heart. And you could go right here to stitch edit. I'm going to lasso the heart. Bum, bum, bum. And while it is selected, I'm going to go up right above it. I'm going to say copy. And then I'm going to go back here to, that's the same design. This one, the one that I did. I'm going to right click with my mouse and I'm going to paste. So there it is. I want to get out of this though. You see how it has those lines around it? So I just need to go back to my pointer and I'm going to put it right there. Then I'm going to copy and I'm going to paste and I'm going to put one right over here. And so you may not have the tools to generate stitches, but there are so many things that you can do within Essentials and Enthusiast to make patches and learn the software. And especially if you're learning, if you're making for yourself and your children and your family, like you can do like family reunion patches. You can use the words in you can use the lettering and use BX fonts and play around with the shapes, because you remember, I don't know if you've watched my other video, but where you can change the letters into a circle or slant them or make them go up or down. There's so many edits that you can do with letters right over here. So that is it. We are double the time that I thought it would take me to just do this part. So I'm going to definitely, I'm trying to delete, call it quits for now. So I'm going to meet you guys over at my machine. And if you only needed this part, this is the end of the digital part of making a patch. So see you in a bit.